Yo, what's going on, guys? And CP3 is heading back to Los Angeles. I want to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think of this news? And are you guys as excited as I am? Lob City, that was what, high school and part of my middle school for me, maybe aging me a little bit. But yes, it's actually a nice little story. I think a lot of people were hoping that he was going to end up with the Lakers, but instead, Chris Haynes, I guess he's for himself right now. I know his brother, Mark. 1 year, $3.6 million deal to head back to Los Angeles. CP3 back in LA. So he slides in either as the starting point guard, which he said is the reported rumor that he had been saying he wants a starting role, or at least an opportunity to compete on a starting role. But my assumption is he's going to be sliding in as Harden's backup. So before we break it down, I'd like to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'm just going to pull up real quickly the depth chart right here. It's James Harden, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, which I love that addition, who's on an expiring Zubac, Brook Lopez, Derek Jones, Nick Batum, Chris Dunn, CP3, Bogdan Bogdanovic, who's still a trade chip, Cam Christie, Kobe Brown, Yannick Niederhauser. Then they have the 3-2-ways who Patrick Baldwin looks like the light-skinned version of Steve Novak, Trenton Flowers and Kobe Sanders out there, which I really like. Again, guys, let me hear the thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this addition, and are you guys in the same page as me? So let's talk about it, and let's discuss what we're seeing right here. Obviously, he gives them, as my voice kind of gargled right there, but a veteran point guard who gives them leadership and experience. This is someone that last year, if you guys hadn't been following along with the NBA, was still performing at a high level in terms of being able to perform. 8-8 is what CP3 put up this past season for the San Antonio Spurs. He's a guy who, he's 40 years old, but in 82 starts, 8.8 points per game with 7.5 assists a night, while averaging 1.3 steals, 43% from the field, and 37.7%, almost 38% from three on almost 4.5 threes a game. And this is someone that post All-Star break obviously had a decline in minutes, but that's because Castle had really asserted himself, even though his percentages had gone up in the reduced minutes. He was 9-8 before that, shooting on worse splits, but still, 41 and 35. Now, what are you getting with Chris Paul? Obviously, he's lost a little bit of athleticism, isn't the defender he once was. He's not a turnstile, but he's going to get a little bit hunted defensively. And the biggest thing is like we said right here, he's going to be someone who's going to help your team ease the burden that you have whenever Harden comes off. This is a team that really, when they didn't have Harden, it helped when they brought in Bogdan Bogdanovic, but really when Harden left the floor, he's their only true facilitator. No offense to Chris Dunn, love Chris Dunn, but they didn't have somebody out there to create. And I think giving this guy to go out there, he can play with either the starting lineup, the second unit. He's going to be able to create opportunities for his teammates, ease the burden on Harden, and allow him to rest more. Same thing with Kawhi and same thing with Bradley Beal, but he also allowed those guys to have easier shots, find more efficient looks, and really boost the second unit and the main unit, that both of them look great. This is a team that's really trying to compete. So if we just look at the rest of this, I think the biggest thing here is just talking about, and we're going to have a video coming out in basically the next day, that the Clippers, about having one of the best off seasons, as they hovered just under the first apron. They were 1.6 below the first apron, so a $3.6 million deal, which I believe seems like it's a veteran minimum, because he has years of service. What would this be? This is year 20. CP3 stats for career, because I just want to see. They'll tell me how many seasons he's played. So he's played 20 seasons. So 21. Wow, veteran minimum for 21 seasons. I think it would be 3.6 million. Okay, 10 years and then each additional years increases with experience. That makes sense. So I think that would be the veteran minimum. And if it's league prorated, so I think the league goes to 1.8. I think they're able to stay under the first apron by doing this deal. And the way they are able to do it is because if it's a veteran minimum contract, the league prorates it to 3 years of service, which is 1.8 or 2.1. Obviously, it increases each season. Now, with that being said, yeah, so the veteran minimum is capped a few years ago at 2.6. So this is the 3.6 is what it's capped. And then the league will prorate the difference, and the cap hit is what the difference is. So if it's 1.8, that means it's a $2 million salary cap hit. But if it's 2.1, that means it's a 1.5 salary cap hit, which keeps them about $100,000 underneath. I'm trying to see if somebody on Twitter has gone over this already. If they did, it'll make all of our lives easier. And the person who would do that is Bobby Marks. And Bobby has not. Clippers, first apron. Just do a little quick Twitter search while we're here. But besides that, I think it's a great addition. So, yeah, the Clippers, like we said, they had, their first apron space was 3.6. So basically, they were able to use the rest of their first apron space and crunch the numbers. So they're basically under the second and capped at the first. Kudos if that's the way I'm reading this right. Finger snaps all around. Great job right there. Shout out Yossi Goslin, who I actually know. Yossi, I have dinner with you several times, talked to you, texted you. Shout out Yossi. Finally met Keith, I believe, was the one I finally met in person in Las Vegas this year. So another guy, good guy. But what else did we have we wanted to touch on? I think that's kind of like where I felt good. I mean, the Clippers, outside of that, I mean, they burned through their mid-level exception and biennial exception. They do have 2 trade exceptions still of 10.7 that, I mean, and obviously the contract of Bogdan, which would allow them to do some salary cap gymnastics to finagle themselves out of this like hard cap that they're at. If they wanted to re-sign somebody like a Amir Coffey or Ben Simmons, just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But I really like this squad. And I think the only guy that we're waiting to hope that they re-sign is Jordan Miller. And from my understanding, they are going to re-sign him, which will probably mean Bogdanovich is the guy that they're going to try to move off of. And I wonder who's going to be the buyer. Maybe it is the Brooklyn Nets. But that's kind of like where I'm looking at this now is, so because I've asked everybody. Miller got cut. Everybody's wondering, but he's playing on the team, the summer league team, and he killed it. So assumption is they're bringing him back. And yeah, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. It has to be Bogdan. I'm looking at this roster, unless they're throwing in the towel on Kobe Brown and Cam Christie, but I think they're valuing all 5 of those young guys, 6 of those young guys if we throw Miller in there. But especially with the signing, I think that the squeeze is Bogdan. They'll look probably to dump him somewhere, bring back Miller, because the way they did it was they brought him back. I mean, they could cut somebody on 2-way, and I think they have one more year of giving him a 2-way, but they kind of gave him money at the end of the year, probably told him that he was going to get cut to be able to sign somebody, and now they're probably going to have to figure out how to do the salary cap gymnastics to bring him back on. Similar, probably non-guaranteed deals, probably made guaranteed this year and then non for next year, and then tell him, like, look, like, we love you, but you are kind of on the bubble crunch. Like, we don't want somebody to poach you, but it's how the NBA rolls. So let me hear your thoughts. That's it. Don't mean to ramble. Really like this deal. But if you guys made it to the end, as always, thank you for watching. It means a lot. Like, comment, subscribe, and let us know what else you guys had on your mind. Bye. Ciao.